Opening. If you're a fan of classic films and television shows from the 20th century, you've probably seen the familiar face of Harry Morgan. With his distinctive voice, calm yet authoritative demeanor, and impeccable acting skills, he became one of Hollywood's most beloved television stars. But before he became an icon, known for legendary roles like Colonel Sherman T. Potter in MASH and Officer Bill Gannon in Dragnet, Harry Morgan was just an ordinary boy growing up in a modest immigrant family. His life and career were nothing short of remarkable, a journey from a law student who unexpectedly found his passion for acting to a household name in American television. And in today's video, we'll take a deep dive into the life of Harry Morgan, from his childhood and rise to fame to the lesser-known struggles he faced along the way. Childhood. Harry Morgan, born Harry Bratsburg on April 10, 1915, in Detroit, Michigan, USA, was the son of Henry Bratsburg and Anna Olsen, both immigrants from Norway and Sweden. His family had strong Scandinavian roots, which influenced his upbringing, values, and cultural background. Harry's father, Henry Bratsburg, worked as a mechanic, a job that required patience and precision, while his mother, Anna Olsen, was a homemaker dedicated to raising their children. Although their financial situation was not lavish, they provided a stable and supportive home environment. The Bratsburg family lived in a tight-knit immigrant community where they maintained their Norwegian and Swedish traditions, from food and customs to language and social values. After spending several years in Detroit, the family relocated to Muskegon, Michigan, where Harry was raised alongside his two siblings, Marguerite and Arnold. Muskegon was a small but growing industrial city, offering job opportunities for working-class families like the Bratsburgs. Growing up in a community of hard-working immigrants instilled in Harry a strong work ethic and an appreciation for perseverance, qualities that would serve him well throughout his life and career. Harry attended Muskegon High School, where he quickly distinguished himself as an exceptional debater. He was particularly gifted in public speaking and even won the title of statewide debating champion of Michigan. His debating skills helped develop his confidence, stage presence, and ability to deliver compelling performances, traits that would later become essential in his acting career. Initially, acting was not part of Harry's plan for the future. After graduating from high school in 1933, he enrolled at the University of Chicago with the intention of studying law. His family fully supported this decision, as a legal career was considered a stable and respectable profession. However, during his university years, his life took an unexpected turn. In his junior year, 1935, he became involved in college theater productions and discovered a deep passion for acting. Stepping onto the stage and bringing different characters to life filled him with an excitement he had never experienced before. As his love for acting grew, he found himself at a crossroads: continue pursuing a law degree or follow his newfound passion for performing. Financial difficulties further complicated his decision, making it harder for him to afford tuition. Ultimately, he made a bold choice. He dropped out of college and moved to New York City to pursue a career in acting. This was a significant and risky decision, especially for a young man from a modest working-class family. However, armed with a solid academic foundation and natural acting talent, Harry Morgan quickly found his footing in the New York theater scene, laying the groundwork for what would become a legendary career spanning more than 6 decades. Harry Morgan's career spanned over 6 decades, showcasing his versatility across theater, film, and television. After leaving the University of Chicago due to financial difficulties, he moved to New York in 1937 and joined the prestigious Group Theater, an influential collective known for revolutionizing American theater. This group, founded by Harold Clurman, Cheryl Crawford, and Lee Strasberg, provided Morgan with a strong foundation in acting. He made his stage debut in Clifford Odets' acclaimed play Golden Boy, performing alongside renowned actors such as Lee J. Cobb, Elia Kazan, and John Garfield. His early experience in theater allowed him to develop his craft, and he also participated in summer stock theater at Pine Brook Country Club in Connecticut, further honing his acting skills. In the early 1940s, Morgan relocated to Los Angeles to pursue a career in film. He made his Hollywood debut in To the Shores of Tripoli, 1942, a wartime drama. That same year, he appeared in Orchestra Wives, a film that led to a personal connection with bandleader Glenn Miller. More than a decade later, Morgan would portray Glenn Miller's pianist, Chummy McGregor, in The Glenn Miller Story, 1954, a performance that gained him widespread recognition. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, he appeared in a variety of films, often credited as Henry Morgan. His roles included appearances in The Oxbow Incident, 1943, alongside Henry Fonda, the Western classic High Noon, 1952, starring Gary Cooper, and Inherit the Wind, 1960, with Spencer Tracy and Frederick March. He was also part of the ensemble cast in How the West Was Won, 1962, where he portrayed Ulysses S. Grant. Morgan frequently collaborated with director Anthony Mann and actor James Stewart in films such as Bend of the River, 1952, and The Far Country, 1955, solidifying his status as a reliable supporting actor in Hollywood. As television became increasingly popular, Morgan transitioned to the small screen and quickly found success. He starred as Pete Porter in the sitcom December Bride, 1954 to 1959, which later led to a spin-off series, Pete and Gladys, 1960 to 1962. However, one of his most memorable early TV roles was playing Officer Bill Gannon in Dragnet, 1967 to 1970, a revival of the iconic crime drama series created by Jack Webb. Morgan had previously worked with Webb on several films, including Dark City, 1950, An Appointment with Danger, 1951, and their collaboration in Dragnet helped Morgan cement his reputation as a familiar face on American television. In 1974, Morgan made a guest appearance on MASH as Major General Bart Ford Hamilton Steele. His performance was so well received that he was cast in a permanent role as Colonel Sherman T. Potter, replacing McLean Stevenson. Morgan's portrayal of Colonel Potter, a tough but warm-hearted commanding officer, became one of his most beloved roles. His performance earned him an Emmy Award in 1980, and he remained a key part of the show until it ended in 1983. Following the immense success of MASH, he reprised his role in its spin-off series, After MASH, 1983 to 1985, though it did not achieve the same level of popularity. Even as he aged, Morgan remained active in television and film throughout the 1980s and 1990s. He co-starred with Hal Linden in the short-lived detective series Black's Magic, 1986, and appeared in the comedy film Dragnet, 1987, a parody of the original TV series, starring Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. In the 1990s, he took on a recurring role in Third Rock from the Sun, 1996 to 1997, and made a notable guest appearance in The Simpsons in 1995, where he voiced his iconic character Bill Gannon. Throughout his career, Harry Morgan appeared in over 100 films and countless television episodes, leaving an enduring impact on American entertainment. In recognition of his contributions to the Western genre, he was inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City in 2006. With his distinctive voice, commanding presence, and ability to balance both drama and comedy, Morgan became one of the most respected character actors in Hollywood history. Scandal. In July 1996, Harry Morgan, who was 81 years old at the time, was arrested and charged with misdemeanor spousal battery following a domestic violence incident at his home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. His wife, Barbara Bushman Morgan, 70 years old, had called the police after what was initially described as a heated argument escalated into physical violence. When officers arrived at the scene, they found Barbara with visible injuries, including a red, swollen left foot, a quarter-inch cut near her right eye, and a bruised right arm. Paramedics provided initial treatment at the home before she was taken to a hospital for further care. Morgan was arrested and taken into custody, where he was booked for spousal battery and later released on $5,000 bail. The news of his arrest made headlines, shocking fans and colleagues who had long viewed him as a warm, authoritative, and disciplined figure, particularly due to his famous roles as Colonel Sherman T. Potter in MASH and Officer Bill Gannon in Dragnet. Given his public image as a respectable and even-tempered figure, the domestic violence charge clashed starkly with the persona he had cultivated over decades in Hollywood. Following his arrest, Morgan faced public scrutiny and legal consequences. Rather than contesting the charges in court, he agreed to enroll in a 6-month domestic violence and anger management counseling program. His participation in the program was a condition set by the court to allow for the charges to be dropped upon successful completion. By the end of the 6 months, Morgan had fulfilled all court-mandated requirements, and as a result, the case against him was dismissed. Although the legal matter was resolved, the incident remained a blemish on his otherwise illustrious career. Before this event, Morgan had never been involved in any known scandals or controversies. His colleagues and fans struggled to reconcile this incident with the man they had admired for so long. Some speculated that age-related issues such as cognitive decline or increased irritability may have contributed to his actions, though no official medical diagnosis was ever made public. Others suggested that personal struggles following the death of his first wife, Eileen Dechon, in 1985, could have played a role in the tensions within his second marriage. Despite the controversy, Morgan remained largely out of the spotlight in his later years, choosing to keep a low profile and focus on his family and personal life. He continued making occasional television appearances but refrained from discussing the 1996 domestic violence incident in interviews. By the time of his passing in 2011, much of the public had largely moved past the scandal, remembering him more for his iconic television roles and contributions to American entertainment rather than the unfortunate events of that summer night in 1996. Marriage. Harry Morgan's personal life was deeply intertwined with his two marriages, both of which played significant roles in shaping his journey beyond Hollywood. His first and most enduring marriage was to Eileen Dechon, whom he wed on September 1, 1940. At the time, Morgan was still in the early stages of his acting career, having just begun to make a name for himself in theater and film. Eileen, a stage actress, shared his passion for the arts and became a steadfast presence throughout his professional and personal life. Their marriage lasted for nearly 45 years, a remarkable achievement in the entertainment industry, where long-lasting unions are often rare. Together, they built a life centered around family, raising 4 sons, Christopher, Charles, Paul, and Daniel. Morgan was known to be a devoted husband and father, and despite the demands of his career, he always prioritized his family. One subtle yet touching tribute to his wife was the framed photograph of Eileen that appeared on the desk of his character, Colonel Sherman T, in the hit television series MASH. It was a heartfelt way for him to keep her close, even while working long hours on set. However, their love story was not without its challenges. As Morgan's career flourished, he often spent extended periods away from home, working on films and television projects. Nevertheless, Eileen remained his anchor, offering unwavering support and encouragement. Their marriage was characterized by a deep bond and mutual respect, and it was widely regarded as one of the more stable and enduring relationships in Hollywood. Tragically, their time together came to an end when Eileen passed away on February 4, 1985. Her death was an immense loss for Morgan, who had spent nearly half a century by her side. He was deeply affected by her passing, and those close to him noted that he struggled with the grief of losing his lifelong partner. Adding to the sorrow, one of their sons, Daniel, passed away just a few years later in 1989, further compounding Morgan's personal hardships during that period. After spending over a year as a widower, Morgan found companionship once again and remarried on December 17, 1986, to Barbara Bushman Quine. Barbara came from a distinguished Hollywood lineage. She was the granddaughter of Francis X. Bushman, a silent film star who was widely regarded as one of the first great matinee idols of the early 20th century. Marrying into a family with deep cinematic roots seemed fitting for Morgan, who had himself spent decades in the industry. While their relationship initially appeared strong, it later became marred by controversy. In July 1996, 10 years into their marriage, Morgan was arrested at their home in Brentwood, Los Angeles, following a domestic dispute. His wife, Barbara, called the police after an argument escalated into violence, leaving her with visible injuries, including a bruised right arm, a swollen foot, and a cut near her eye. The incident shocked many, as Morgan had long been known for portraying strong yet compassionate authority figures on television, such as Colonel Sherman T. in MASH and Officer Bill Gannon in Dragnet. Fans and colleagues found it difficult to reconcile this incident with the warm, fatherly persona he had cultivated over the years. Morgan was charged with misdemeanor spousal battery and was later released on $5,000 bail. Rather than fighting the charges in court, he agreed to attend a 6-month domestic violence and anger management counseling program. Upon successfully completing the program, the charges were dropped, and he was not convicted of a crime. Despite this public scandal, Morgan and Barbara remained together, and their marriage lasted until his passing in 2011. While some speculated that age-related issues or the stress of aging may have played a role in the 1996 altercation, the exact circumstances behind the incident were never fully disclosed. Regardless, it was a stark contrast to the peaceful, loving marriage he had shared with Eileen for so many years. Other relationships. Throughout his extensive career, Harry Morgan built strong professional relationships with many renowned actors and directors, but 3 of his most significant collaborations were with Jack Webb, James Stewart, and Richard Boone. These relationships not only contributed to his success but also helped shape the trajectory of his acting career. Morgan's partnership with Jack Webb played a crucial role in his television career. Their collaboration began in the early 1950s when Morgan appeared in several film noir productions alongside Webb, including Dark City, 1950, and Appointment with Danger, 1951. These early projects laid the foundation for their most well-known work together in Dragnet. In 1967, Morgan joined the revival of Dragnet as Officer Bill Gannon, the partner of Webb's iconic character, Sergeant Joe Friday. Their on-screen chemistry made the show a success, and Morgan's portrayal of Gannon became one of his most recognizable roles. The series ran until 1970, further cementing his place in television history. Beyond Dragnet, Morgan and Webb continued working together on other projects, including Heck Ramsey, 1972-1974, a Western detective series produced by Webb's company, Mark 7 Limited. Their shared commitment to authenticity in crime and Western storytelling fostered a lasting and productive professional relationship. Another important collaboration in Morgan's career was with James Stewart, one of Hollywood's most beloved actors. Their first major project together was The Glenn Miller Story, 1954, in which Morgan played Chummy McGregor, the pianist and close friend of Stewart's character, bandleader Glenn Miller. The film was both a critical and commercial success, helping to further establish Morgan's credibility as a supporting actor in major Hollywood productions. More than 2 decades later, they reunited in The Shootist, 1976, a Western film that also featured John Wayne in his final movie role. In this film, Morgan played Marshall Thibodeau, while Stewart took on the role of Dr. Hostetler. Both actors brought depth and authenticity to their performances, contributing to the film's reputation as one of the greatest westerns of the era. Morgan also developed a strong professional relationship with Richard Boone, a veteran actor best known for his work in westerns. Morgan first worked with Boone in an episode of Have Gun, Will Travel in 1963, where he played Sheriff Ernie Backwater. Boone, impressed by Morgan's performance, later cast him as a regular in The Richard Boone Show, 1963-1964, an anthology series where Morgan had the opportunity to play a variety of roles. Their collaboration continued in the early 1970s with Heck Ramsey, 1972-1974, in which Boone played the titular character, a lawman-turned-detective, while Morgan portrayed Doc Amos Coogan, a medical examiner and Ramsey's trusted friend. The series blended elements of both the Western and detective genres, and Morgan's chemistry with Boone helped make it a standout show of its time. Beyond these 3 major collaborations, Morgan worked with countless other Hollywood icons, always earning the respect of his peers for his professionalism and versatility. His ability to transition seamlessly between film and television, drama and comedy, made him a valuable asset in any production. Whether playing a law enforcement officer, a military leader, or a trusted sidekick, Morgan's talent and adaptability allowed him to form meaningful connections with some of the biggest names in the industry. His legacy is not just defined by his own performances but also by the strong partnerships he built throughout his career, helping to create some of the most memorable moments in television and film history. Death. Harry Morgan passed away on December 7, 2011, at the age of 96. He died peacefully in his sleep at his home in Los Angeles, marking the end of an extraordinary life and career that had spanned more than 6 decades. Prior to his passing, Morgan had been receiving treatment for pneumonia, an illness that often poses significant health risks for elderly individuals. His son, Charles, later confirmed that pneumonia had weakened his health in his final days and had been a contributing factor to his passing. Morgan's death was met with an outpouring of tributes from colleagues, fans, and the entertainment industry. Many of his former co-stars, particularly those from MASH, spoke publicly about their deep admiration for him as both a performer and a person. Mike Farrell, who played B.J. Honeycutt in MASH, expressed his sorrow, calling Morgan a wonderful man, a fabulous actor, and a dear friend. Farrell also shared that Morgan was incredibly professional on set, always bringing a sense of humor and camaraderie to his work. Alan Alda, the lead star of MASH, also honored Morgan's memory, reflecting on his warmth, wisdom, and exceptional ability to balance comedy and drama, a skill that made him a standout actor in Hollywood. Following his passing, Morgan's body was cremated, and his remains were entrusted to his family. His loved ones held a private ceremony, keeping the farewell intimate and personal, just as Morgan had preferred to live in his later years. While he had stepped away from Hollywood after the 1990s, his influence remained strong, and his legacy continued to live on through his countless performances. News of his death made headlines across the country, with major publications such as the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, and Variety publishing obituaries that celebrated his contributions to film and television. Fans flooded social media with messages of appreciation, reminiscing about his iconic role as Colonel Sherman T. Potter in MASH and his work in Dragnet, December Bride, and other classic shows. The Smithsonian Institution, which had previously honored MASH for its cultural impact, acknowledged Morgan's passing by recognizing his significant role in shaping one of television's most beloved series. Despite his passing, Morgan's legacy endures, not only through his vast body of work but also through the impact he left on generations of actors and audiences. His ability to effortlessly shift between dramatic and comedic roles, his gruff but lovable persona, and his dedication to his craft ensured that he would be remembered as one of television's most respected and cherished figures. His characters remain iconic, his performances continue to entertain, and his influence on American television is undeniable.